Hello, everybody. Good evening. And last week, what I had done is I had given my intro as to why I am doing whatever I am doing. So, since last week, I have changed so many things in my funnel that it is now very women centric, women excellence. So, women working professionals. Those people are not any different than working professionals as such, men or women, but women has, because of our society and because of their structure, because of their mindset, they feel left out, uh, some sort of, and it takes them a lot of time to get back their confidence. So first, they need to understand their element. So that is what I started with. If once they come to their element, they understand what good good they are for, whether they have proven something so far or not, still they are the best. So let me first show you where from I started, and then I speak about um, them becoming successful professionals. So the first thing is a lady, she needs to know that she is worthy. That has been my, are you able to see the screen? Let me share the screen. Sorry about that. So that has been my story as to not feeling worthy enough. So I was always thinking, what good am I am? Although many people say that you have been achieving so much and you have reached to this position. So this position is not very important, if you can, if you allow me to say so. It is about you, how your happiness has been. Are you contributing every day, doing something meaningful for yourself, for your own sake, every day? Are you able to do? So when I thought that women excellence, the why is women need to be themselves at first. This is they don't do. They are by their own recognition is not by their own name and who they are. It is they are somebody's daughter, sister, wife, mother, and so on and so forth. I had come across one lady in Jharkhand when I was working in a dead watershed, which I was trying to revive. It was revived. And it was revived because I have revived all the SHGs women. I empowered them by giving them power. And although they were very little slow to wake up to the opportunity that has come their way, but nevertheless, whatever they have been doing from before, I was surprised to know that they have been operating there for 25 years. I couldn't believe that. But they have 11 crore in their account. That was not unbelievable, right? It was there for me to see. And one of those ladies, a contributor who has saved 20 rupees in a month or so, now she is saving about 50 rupees a month. And she thinks that it was not enough. What happens with 20 rupees or 50 rupees even in a month? It becomes like the 20 rupees in a month becomes 240 rupees in a year. And suppose he has done that for 10 years, then it becomes 2,400 at the most. And then 50 years since last, suppose say even 10 years. then also it is not more than 5,000. So her individual contribution was just 7,000 odd. So it kind of, when she started, when she thought about itself, she thought like this. She didn't know about anything, which is a compounding effect. Most of us, I haven't seen 90% of people realizing the compounding effect. Let me explain what do I mean by a compounding effect. Compounding effect is do small things. Don't belittle yourself at any moment. Just do that small things, whatever you can every day. And if you are performing in somebody's place, in front of somebody, and that person is a big achiever, it doesn't have anything to do with your performance, right? If that person has achieved a huge amount of success, he has done extraordinary kind of success. I was just reading a story of Thaddeus Lawrence, who was a very ordinary next day neighbor kind of person, but he has achieved 4 digit success. It has a brand, some significance for him. Now, when he started, he was an ordinary person. He looks ordinary even today, but his achievements are phenomenal. Why? Because he keeps on adding to his achievements small things every day. So small things means not a big thing at once to be done. It is the simple thing to be added every day. Suppose you were, I was just talking about that Jharkhand woman, right? Now that Jharkhand woman, when I asked what was her name, she was unable to remember her name. Can you believe somebody not remembering his or her own name? She doesn't remember because she hasn't used that name for years. She got married about 50 years back when she was just about 12 or 13. Maybe she had a name at that time. But in the area of Bihar and Jharkhand and Eastern India, there is this tradition of having 2 names at the same time. One is for official purpose, and one is the name for household purpose, where when everybody calls you by that name. So that small name sticks. So she might be having a small name, her official name, because she never went to school. Her real name, her official name was never in use. And once she got married, she was known in her in-law's place as the Bahu, as the daughter-in-law, or the bride from her parental village. So suppose she was from, say, Garlipali, so she would have been known as Garlipalian. So that is the tradition in the Eastern India side, where ladies, girls who get married are known as. Now after her children were born, she was called as somebody's mother. Suppose the daughter or the son that she has given birth to, she has given their name, and before the children were born, she was the wife of somebody. So there was no chance when she was called by her name. There was no chance. So she doesn't remember her name anymore. What do you think about this story? It is a real story that I encountered. Suppose 50 years back, her name was Sabita. How is it different from Kavita or any other name? And if she hasn't used anything, how can she remember? It is an inconceivable story. What do I mean by relating to this story? This story is about your name. What do you own in a household? In a house where she lives, nothing is hers. Everything belongs to somebody else. Her husband, her children, maybe. Nobody knows. Have you asked yourself that question? What belongs to you? The jewelry? Even that doesn't belong to you. Somebody has right over it more than you. And it is his or her mercy that you own it. Or do you own it even? Many women didn't own it for a very long period of time. So nothing belongs to you, right? Nothing belongs to the lady of the house. I have asked this question to ladies of very well-to-do family and ladies of very, very basic uh, household. And the situation is not very different in either case. Now, that trend, even though ladies have got educated, that trend has not changed. Not changed much. Because since till last 3-4 months back, I was thinking myself to be not worthy. What does that mean? I'm educated, I have reached to such and such position, I have so many years of experience. Still, why do I think that, why had I thought that I was not enough? Maybe I was comparing myself against bigger accomplishment. That is perfect. That is okay. But unless you are good enough, worthy enough, you are not going to achieve those. So the first thing is, at every stage, not only women, even men are going to face the same challenge, that they are not worthy. So here is my first task. Women, if they don't feel worthy, then it affects the household, the entire household. Mahatma Gandhi said that if you educate the women of the house, then she educates the entire household. The same thing stands. By education, he meant that the lady will have confidence, the lady will have resources, she will have access to finances and all these things. Mere education is not about degree, that he meant. If that is so, not having all those will not help the entire household either. So that is why I suddenly realized that it is very essential that ladies should know their worth. And because I thought that, maybe I can take this to the top. The why is very important. And then women can think of excellence. Now I have these 3 secrets about ladies, how they can chart out strategically, they can take action about being women of excellence. The first thing is they should know their worth. What is the essence in themselves? That is very important. What are the factors in them which will create magnificence in them, and how they will achieve this elegance to become people of significance. Now, if I note down these 3, this habit. First of all, you start with your habits. How do you talk with yourself? How you evaluate yourself every evening? What is your mindset when you self-talk? Do you give yourself confidence, or you give yourself the the demoralization kind of with your self-talk? That is the first tip. So let us today talk about the first thing, Eva essence. And let me share my PPT about, let me first find out where my PPT is. Is this the one? Perhaps not. I'll start with the experience of Bandhavgarh. I went there in 2011, and the ladies were the first. What did I think? How could I have given food sufficiency to this area? Let us think in this term. The entire village, they were very unexposed, very basic. They were still dependent like the ancient times. Civilization hadn't come to their doorstep, I think so. So they were dependent on forest. Only they had food for 3 months only. Now, for the rest of the time, they had to depend on the forest. So they were getting to the core where it was a tiger reserve, and this was the basic, and the tiger reserve was not fenced. So they were getting to the core of the forest and were getting killed. So what I did was, here I am giving them the fourth option and the entire series. The series started with SRI, system of root intensification. The second was integrated farming. The third was hybrid mustard cultivation. And the fourth was herbal cultivation. Why the graduation? The successive graduation is because with SRI, they could see that they can cultivate enough for their annual sustenance. They didn't have to depend on forest anymore. They didn't have to go to a forest. It was for 3 months of paddy cultivation, 3 to 6 months of paddy cultivation is all that they needed to do. Now, who did this? Who transformed all this? This was with the ladies. These were the ladies who, over a period of 4 years of time, they won 17 awards. When I started, I couldn't have thought of the awards. My problem was the responsibility I was given was to create food sufficiency for the entire year. My job was not to win awards. but these were something which came to me. Do you not think that why I am talking about awards when my responsibility was to create food sufficiency? So let me here uh, applaud these ladies, because I could connect to these ladies to some extent because I was there amongst them, and they were kind of surprised that a lady like them only, who has come to their doorsteps while they have never gone out of the village. So it was giving them a hope, a possibility that someday they can also, and it is not very far off, they can also uh, reach to this status of a lady who has come from somewhere amongst them. So when when I started, they were uh, kind of not talking. Their culture was such that if there was an elder in the vicinity, they will not talk. So I approached the seniors, saying that Dada, can you please go away so that your daughters-in-laws will be talking, because they are not speaking because you are around. So the way I tackled problem, a small problem was big for them. So they couldn't get out of those, and it was very easily handled. That is what they observe about me. Anybody and everybody observes, can observe, right? Even if illiterate, they could observe this, that problems can be tackled this way. What next was, I formed small SHGs of 10 to 15 women from similar background and asked them to start saving 10 rupees uh, every month. So that is how they started. Once they started saving for 6 months, then the project has money to give them a loan. And it was, because it was a project, there was no profit and loss as such. But what I did was, I helped them to take a loan, do some activity, and if they have repaid, say 2 to 3 installments, then next loan was also extended. The entire money could have gone um, to consumption, but I gave them a dream. It was a dream. If they could save enough, then they could take, and if they repay in a timely manner, then there will be discipline formed first of repayment, and it will increase their credit worthiness. Even if they go to bank and open their bank account, it will increase their credit worthiness. Is the first thing. The second thing is, once they start repaying, they will earn money, because it will be even if it is a small interest, it will increase their money. Once money is increased, it will have a compounding effect. Again, I come back to this compounding effect. Means money when saved for 1 year, it yields in some interest. The bank gives some interest. That is earned by keeping money. And that money again, together, both the amount, starts earning interest on its own. This is what a compounding interest is. Even if you don't do, you help that money grow because of your consistency. Now, that is what I call as compounding effect. When I do this, I established a habit in them. And soon these ladies picked up that they could have ignored me. But when you show them the way, even it was, I did two things. One was I opened a bank account, which normally takes time because it was in the name of the group. So every group had a bank account, and it took some time because the law and the bank officers, they are not directed to open the bank account of a group. But we showed them some regulation under which bank accounts of groups can be opened, and even though it took 6 months, the groups were ultimately opened. We had the advantage of the project money with which we could operate even if there was no bank account for some time. What we did was we started extending loan if they started they saved for 6 months in their own place. So installed the team installed another discipline of saving within themselves in a box. The box will remain with one person of the group. The key will be with another person, and the book, the accounting book, will be with a third person. This ensured that one person cannot take out any money in emergency. Suppose there were emergency, there has to be agreement between 5 people. They will call an emergency meeting to take out any amount, any emergency amount they faced. So the group synergy was maintained with that, and because emergency can happen with anybody, and this emergency money had to be refunded back within say 10 to 15 days, sometimes within a month, with a month's interest, which is just 2 rupees per 100 rupees. So in that way, this money in the box started increasing. And although we established, so everybody had to pay 10 rupees if they agreed. If they wanted to increase it to some amount, then everybody needed to agree that this would be the increased amount. So when it became 5,000 plus, any extra money more than 5,000 will go to the bank account. That was the discipline, second discipline we had. Third discipline you can see. And there were 28 groups. There were 2 clusters. And from every group, we took 2 people into the next level, which is the cluster level composition, which means out of the 14 groups, there were 28 people in either cluster level organized. They took the decision about their own clusters, about their own loan, who will take the loan, who will repay. So this was planned. Discipline can be planned. Awards cannot be planned. So first, they learned the saving discipline. Then we gave them the discipline of agriculture, the first thing, of system of root intensification, whereby some techniques were given to them so that their productivity increased. And now they had food for entire year rather. Devti Bai is one lady who won the Ideal Women Award. What did she do? She helped people, whatever we taught her, organic farming, beekeeping, using of organic manure. She bought a cow just to have this organic manure. Everything she learned, and she helped others to learn also. With this, she had a small plot of chili farming, just a small, wherein less than 50 plants were there. But these plants were there for more than 3 years. And every week, she could sell about 50 rupees of chili, worth of chili. That 50 rupees is a substantial income for her. You know, she was a widow of 5 children when she was just 21. She had 5 children, and by the time she was 22, she was a widow. So she had suffered hugely. How could she go to work with 5 children? Like say, out of those five, three were toddlers, and the eldest was not even say 6 years old. Every year she had a child. It was like that. Now, from that to this stage, she knew that if the poor can create a capital, a small capital, that will take care of their vulnerability and they can escape the poverty cycle. That was her learning. And with that, she won this award. The next is, I will talk about Devti Bai a bit more. The next is the mustard cultivation, in which it was a hybrid mustard production, in which every plant was about had about 5 kilos of seed, and this broke the production record of mustard. I could have given them this technique. I thought of this technique because our close association with the district agricultural officer, but we couldn't have given the record breaking no performance to them. It was a byproduct of such effort, which gave the compounding effect. So what in the 4 years of time, the small groups of 28 groups, they were federated into a federation with 36 lakhs of corpus. From the project money, they took loan and they repaid. So there were 36 lakhs of corpus in this, just in 4 years of time. Food scarce to food sufficient. There were no roads when I went there. Because of this affluence, the area became buzzed and buzzed with activities, and so roads were constructed. It was an effect of one thing, just one thing. I don't take credit for everything, but it is the effect, ripple effect, that was created because of one small discipline that was installed in saving culture. And these ladies became, two of them became the district governing board members. They make themselves so distinct that they were part of the district governing board. They could have opinions now. They could have assessed any schemes that was there in the panchayat level, in the block level. It was just going and asking the panchayat level, the block level officials about what schemes they can avail. They took advantage of one scheme called Rajiv Gandhi Yojana, which was for rural lighting, and they wanted a three-phase electricity line in their villages because they were now having this herbal cultivation and the mustard cultivation, the SRI. So they needed irrigation. So they needed pump sets to operate. The water level was not so deep, so they could dig this. They could have dog wells and have water, but for that it was a sandy soil. So they wanted to have these submersive pumps to lift the water. And it was a project. So installing this three-phase line meant it was an effort to bringing three-phase line, right, from the main source somewhere else to this. So there were this pillars were to be installed. There were several two or three transformers were to be installed. So this came to about a project of 60 lakhs. They could avail at 5 lakhs only because of this scheme. So now they could avail this scheme also, right? The district collector gave them appointment within 10 minutes. They distinguished themselves so much. But the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Narendra Modi, who is the Honorable Prime Minister now, they also won an award from Chief Minister Narendra Modi. This couldn't have been planned. This was something of compounding effect, as I say. Compounding effect all through. When you influence, when you have resourceful influencing with compounding effect, these miracles happen. And when she, Devti Bai again, I'm coming back to her story, she said, capital is the key to escape the vicious poverty cycle. It was this insight which won her this award. I take credit because I wrote this proposal, her profile in English, which she couldn't have done. So I take this and I take pride of finding this opportunity and applying for this. After all, what is my life for? I was empowering people, right? And achieved through them. I did a compounding effect to my life. The then Industry Minister, Mr. Anand Sharma, felicitated. Yeah. It was not something that could have been planned. Another farmer in that area won the Best Farmer Award from MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, which is a leading foundation which created the Green Revolution in India. This SHG leader, Lallibai, she won an award from the then Andhra Pradesh governor. A grassroots worker became the CEO of the farmer producer organization that was there after some time. So this was the story of Bandhavgarh, one of my projects which displayed this compounding effect. They didn't have money, they didn't have enough food when I started the project. But I didn't think about their health, the girl child education, the communication, the infrastructure, the recognition. All these things were not planned. These were the compounding effect of one small effort that I started with. A dream. I started with a dream and took a step forward, which created the compounding effect. The area was declared as the pilgrimage villages of Madhya Pradesh, one state in India. Let me stop sharing. Now, what do you think about this compounding effect? These are very small activities every day, like a small saving, create big savings one day. You can experiment this every day in your life. For 3 months, you save 9,000 each month. It becomes 27,000 by the time you wake up to the reality how much you have saved. By another 3 months, it becomes more than 50,000. It becomes 1 lakh in no time. And then the compounding effect also takes place. If you put it for 10 years, 15 years, it comes to crores. It is not a myth, not any trick, not any rocket science. It is just like that. So start having this compounding effect in your personality as well, for women especially. If you start putting this small effort in your personality, developing your personality, whatever personality you are who you are. You are unique. No? And follow your heart. Whatever extraordinary thing that you feel to have in your mind, in your heart, just follow that. If you mechanically follow a success principle, it might not work. And the moment you fail in those, it is a signal that you are not meant to follow any mechanical path. It is your own heart that you need to follow. If you can understand this, then the compounding effect will take place. It will start happening. It will come into effect. I think this is the first thing towards realizing and having Eva essence, which is my first secret. So this is what I'll be teaching you. If you come to my paid course, you might learn from these lessons as well. It doesn't matter, but it requires a discipline. It doesn't happen. Everybody has learned this. The illiterate ladies of Bandhavgarh, they could learn. So you can also learn from this. So this is the first secret that I talk about. And hope you have learned from this. And we will discuss more about compounding effect in the next video as well. See you.